Six-time Emmy Award winner and Tony Award nominee Jean Smart returns to Broadway for 12 weeks only in a world premiere play about a writer whose words are her greatest gift, her deepest secret, and her only way out.
Call me Izzy.
Don't miss this moving tour de force performance now on Broadway. Get tickets at callmeizzyplay.com.
On today's Smart 7 government U-turns on Grooming Gang Inquiry, Trump urges Tehran to evacuate and much more. It's Tuesday 17th of June, it's Eat Your Vegetables Day, and happy birthday, Jodie Whittaker.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
A new report by Baroness Casey has prompted a dramatic U-turn by the government on the difficult question of grooming gangs. She was asked to audit the existing reports and make a recommendation on whether or not a more detailed national inquiry was needed, and she found that it was, saying that there had been a collective failure to properly deter and prosecute offenders and to protect children from harm. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper accepted all 12 recommendations, which include an independent commission, a full search of police records and a tightening of laws around children under 16.
This will mark the biggest programme of work ever pursued to root out the scourge of grooming gangs, those vile perpetrators who have grown used to the authorities looking the other way must have no place to hide.
Baroness Casey praised the new Labour government for looking again at the issue, but expressed disappointment that the previous Tory government failed to act on numerous occasions. That wasn't how Tory Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp saw it.
Well, this has come far too late. Keir Starmer has announced this not because he believes in it or he wants it. He's done it because he's been forced to. Keir Starmer has had to be dragged kicking and screaming to do the right thing.
There was no sign of de-escalation in the growing conflict between Israel and Iran on Monday. In fact, Israel appears to have widened its target list, moving from attacking military bases and nuclear sites to oil and gas refineries, and even hit the state TV station on Monday evening, killing 2 people. The IDF also issued an evacuation order for Tehran residents, warning that it was planning to attack what it called military infrastructure. That tactic will sound very familiar to residents of Gaza, but Israel's President Isaac Herzog says his nation had no option.
Truth of the matter is there was no other choice, because the Iranian nuclear program was rushing to the bomb.
Iran, meanwhile, has threatened to pull out of the long-standing nuclear weapons treaty, opening the door to even further escalation. Economic Secretary to the Treasury Emma Reynolds says the UK continues to call for calm.
We haven't been involved in any of the Israeli action, and the priority now for us, and has been since Friday, is to urge both sides to show restraint.
Leaders from the G7 group of nations began their summit in Canada on Monday. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, alongside French President Macron, has prioritised a ceasefire in the conflict between Israel and Iran. Middle Eastern nations, including the United Arab Emirates, have signalled they are prepared to host talks, but Iran is calling for a joint ceasefire with Israel before any conversation can begin. G7 leaders had been hoping that Donald Trump would use his influence with Netanyahu to force the issue, but before he departed the summit early, he simply urged Tehran to evacuate. He was also unhappy that his friend Vladimir Putin is not at the summit, as he sought to relitigate events from 2015.
The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. You spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table, so it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war.
MI6 has a brand new boss, and for the first time ever, she's a woman. Blaise Mitchell will take over as head of the UK's Foreign Intelligence Service from current Chief Sir Richard Moore in the autumn. The famously secret service only identifies its chief and no other officers, but Blaise has worked at a senior level for MI5 before taking on her current role of Director General of the Q section, which is responsible for technology and innovation. If that sounds familiar, it's because Q has been made famous by James Bond, although there's never been a female Q in the Bond series. With a world in chaos, it's a challenging time to take up the role, but former MI6 boss Sir Alex Younger says Blaise will be outstanding.
I'm really pleased by this appointment. She is an incredibly experienced, credible, successful operational officer, a case officer So she can hit the ground running, and she'll have a big intro, and that's a good thing.
Still to come on today's Smart 7 in association with Metro, Chelsea get off to a winning start, and Liam Neeson wants to make you smile right after this.
Hi, this is Frances from Fixable, a podcast from TED. These days, every finance leader is under pressure to save money. But you can't beat the competition just by cutting costs. To win, you need to spend smarter and move faster. You need Brex. Brex is the modern finance platform that breaks the trade-off between control and speed with intelligent corporate cards, high-yield banking, and AI-powered expense management. Join the 30,000 companies that spend smarter and move faster with Brex. Learn more at brex.com/grow.
Welcome back.
The Club World Cup is underway in the US, but it hasn't exactly got off to a sparkling start. The competition, which sees 32 teams from 20 nations go head-to-head in a traditional World Cup-style format, was supposed to be a showcase for FIFA and a warm-up for the 2026 World Cup. Monday night saw Chelsea take on LAFC in front of just 20,000 people, but they picked up a comfortable 2-0 win. Boss Enzo Maresca didn't sound too excited.
Yeah, we continue in our journey. We finished the Premier League and the Conference League very strong. We continue winning today, clean sheet, as you said, to debut, so happy.
There have been 573 episodes of Law & Order Special Victims Unit, which makes it the fourth longest running show in American TV history. It's still running, with Mariska Hargitay still playing Officer Olivia Benson, who has now been promoted to captain, and somehow they're still finding crimes to solve. Outside of the TV show, Mariska has a project of her own which tells the story of her mother, screen legend Jane Mansfield. Her mother was killed when Hargitay was only 3 and she survived the crash. It's an incredible story, now the subject of a documentary called My Mum Jane, directed by the actress and airing on HBO Max in June.
You know, when you do a documentary, you're sort of going in so much to the unknown. The unknown was very beautiful, and what happened amongst my family was beautiful, and I feel free, and I feel integrated, and I feel like I have a beautiful movie that I can't wait to share.
Irish actor Liam Neeson is famous for many things, but mainly that line that your dad loves to do about a certain set of skills from the Taken movie franchise. He doesn't turn his hand to comedy all that often, but that's about to change as he takes on a sequel to the Naked Gun movies. If you've never seen the originals, they're hilarious, starring Leslie Nielsen as Lieutenant Frank Drebin and filled with slapstick comedy and ludicrous plots. Now Liam Neeson, alongside Pamela Anderson, is stepping into some pretty big clown shoes, but the first trailer suggests he might just have nailed it. Naked Gun hits cinemas in August.
Says you served 20 years for man's laughter.
You mean manslaughter?
Must have been quite the joke.
Do this by the book.
Show a little respect! Why? Who's going to arrest me? Other cops?
Yes.
Is she serious?
Is he serious?
No.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.
6-time Emmy Award winner and Tony Award nominee Jean Smart returns to Broadway for 12 weeks only in a world premiere play about a writer whose words are her only way out.
Call me Izzy.
Get tickets at callmeizzyplay.com.